Ooh, it's episode 25 of our Road to Legend, guys. And today I've got a total of 10 battles to show you guys. They are really crazy battles, I must say. And it's actually 4 days worth of battles that I like to show you guys. However, it's just 10 battles. Otherwise, like usual, the video will be just too long. Alright, so hi to all of you guys. So if you guys remember in the last episode, we were at 2,741 ELO. The ELO went down a bit, and yeah, we're slowly climbing back up again, hopefully. So let's begin with the very first battle against Leo Sutherland. Alright, so I just want to mention a few things though. First of all, the struggle has been real, going up and down the ELO, but at the end, I managed to actually gain a really good amount of points. But I actually reached my highest points ever, which was close to 2,900 ELO, I must say. Not at the end, but in between some of the sets. I reached up to 2,890, which was the highest I've ever reached, and eventually it went down a bit. Because the network here in the accommodation, this particular accommodation, isn't too good, especially when I'm like playing it in the room here with the mobile data. Even if I connect to the Wi-Fi, it's not so good also. So I had to move to another spot to actually play kind of near to the entrance of the accommodation to actually play more efficiently, which then worked to my favor. So let's go ahead to check out this very first battle, though my opponent is using Pidgeot, which is great for him because Pidgeot is a very good Pokemon to counter my entire team, especially since it has Brave Bird and also Feather Dance to actually burn my shield so quickly. But we're gonna go with Flame Charge. I thought that would be onto the Pidgeot. However, my opponent switched into Nidoqueen. I was trying to pull a switch into my Trevenant ASAP. My Shadow Swampert is already out, though I'm already out of shields. My opponent is still left with 1 shield, so Trevenant isn't going to fare well against Pidgeot at all. Whatever moves that I throw at Pidgeot will be resisted, so hence I need to use my Trevenant against Nidoqueen, and I predict my opponent is not going to shield this. So we're going to take out the Nidoqueen, but we're going to try and farm it down a little bit. As you guys can see, the Nidoqueen actually took us out before we can actually do anything, unfortunately. So I'm trying to farm a bit more energy, hence why I left the Nidoqueen with a little bit of help. Hopefully we can get to more Flame Charge in time. Alright, hopefully we can do that. Unfortunately, the Gust knocked us out before we could even fire off the next Flame Charge. We needed the next Flame Charge, otherwise we would have lost, and hence that happened. Alright, so checking out the next battle against my next opponent using a Shadow Warrior. Not a very good start for us. Alright, so for Shadow Warrior wise, I normally just go with Earthquake straight away and see if my opponent's going to shield this or not, and eventually I'll try and catch the first charge move onto my Talonflame, which is what I'm trying to do, but my opponent already activated the Icicle Spear, so I'm unable to switch into the Talonflame to catch the Icicle Spear at all. I'm going to try and catch it again, which we do. Awesome. I'm going to let this go through. So Talonflame, I feel can take the hit from the Icicle Spear better than the Shadow Swampert, so hence why I usually let it take the hit. Of course, if it's a Shadow Talonflame instead, I would not agree with that. Alright, so 2 Icicle Spears would actually take out a Shadow Talonflame, which is not available yet in the game, but let's run under the assumption when it does come in the future. Yeah, it will get knocked out by 2 Icicle Spears from a Shadow Warrior, as what I can see over here. Alright, so bringing in my Trevenant because the Swampert isn't going to be good against the Shadow Warrior. We're going to go ahead with our very first charge move. My opponent did a very good catch as he caught my Seed Bomb, but it's okay. We're going to bring in Swampert to get to the Hydro Cannon. It's going to be almost enough, I think, to knock out the Toxic Crow. We're going to farm down the Toxic Crow, but we both got knocked out together. Trevenant is back in. That's my last Pokemon, and her last Pokemon is a Talonflame. I'm like, oh my god. Alright, we need to handle the Talonflame with our Shadow Balls, man. Alright, so Shadow Ball is going to do a lot of damage to the Talonflame. Can we actually farm down the Talonflame? Not too sure, man. We would have to do that, otherwise we do not have energy to knock out the Warrior. Alright, let's go, knock it out. Alright, great. So now we have the Seed Bomb ready. Use it on the Warrior, and this should be enough to knock out the Shadow Warrior, man. Oh my god, it's a very tight battle. As you guys can see, my Ball Blast even spun the Pokestop to get the 7-day streak. Yeah, and that was at around 2+ AM. My character actually drifted to that spot and spun the Pokestop by his own, man. Alright, so let's go ahead to see the next battle against someone who's using Poliwrath. It's quite interesting to see an opponent using Poliwrath in the Ultra League. I would think out of maybe 400 or 500 battles, I see one person using it, and I know that they will be running Dynamic Punch. So I'm going to shield up the Dynamic Punch. I'm going to go with Hydro Cannon to see if I can burn a shield. Alright, let's see that. And yeah, great. We burned the very first shield. Looking pretty alright for us. Then we're going to go with Earthquake now. Let's see if we can burn the second shield or do a huge amount of damage. Great, we did a good amount of damage. We're going to bring in our Trevenant to try and catch the Dynamic Punch. Also, maybe he's running Scowl also. So Dynamic Punch is good. It'll be double resisted. So seems to me like I'm in a very, very good position. Right. Hang on, you're not over yet, man. Alright, so my opponent decided to bring in Feraligatr. I'm like, okay, quite interesting for someone to be using a Shadow Feraligatr. I think it's the first time ever I see anyone do this. Alright, so I didn't even need to get to Extend. It's going to knock out the Feraligatr anyway with the Seed Bomb. I'm going to bring in, Swampert? Oh, I brought in Talonflame because it's running Ice Fang, right? You'll be resisted. You'll be neutral damage to both anyways. Alright, we're going to farm down the Feraligatr. That's why I brought in the Talonflame. I want the energy on my Talonflame more than the Swampert. Let's see what's the next Pokemon he's going to bring in. Is it going to be the Poliwrath? No, it is a Swampert. We're going to go with Brave Bird straight away. Looks very, very good, man. Looks very promising for us. We still have a lot of health on our Swampert. So we're going to bring our very own Swampert. Excuse me. And then let's see how things goes, man. Alright, we will probably try and farm down the Swampert, right? Oh no, he brought in the Poliwrath. I was trying to farm down the Poliwrath. Unfortunately, we got hit by an Ice Punch, which knocked out our Swampert. Let's go ahead to bring in the Talonflame. Now, the question is, can we survive one Hydro Cannon from a Shadow Swampert? Because if we can, we probably can win this, right? And boom, we do survive! But we are trying to get to another Incinerate damage. Unfortunately, we got farmed down by the Mud Shots. Oh my god. That was the most embarrassing battle ever. Seriously, I landed the Earthquake, I landed the Brave Bird, and I still lost that one. That was so embarrassing. Like, really, when I did the battle, I'm like, okay. I was super duper overconfident already to actually win that one, but yeah. That could possibly happen. So going to the next battle against a Shadow Dragonite, going to go with Hydro Cannon spam all the way, but Dragon Claw is going to do a lot of damage, man. I think it does around like 40% or 45% damage to a Shadow Swampert, so hence why I shielded that. Alright, we're going to go with another Hydro Cannon. We are one shield down also. Alright, I'm going to shield up against this. I'm going to try and win switch advantage, but I'll be out of shields after this. Alright, one more Mud Shot, but he brought in a Trevenant. Alright, very good catch by him, man. Let's go ahead to bring in our Talonflame to farm down the Trevenant totally, but we're going to get hit by one Shadow Ball regardless. Alright, not to worry, the Talonflame can still survive that. It will be down to red health, but eventually we will have energy for the next Pokemon. Alright, one more Incinerate. One more Incinerate. Well, this Trevenant has really good IV, so hence why it's not taken out by just 2 Incinerates after suffering one hit from the Flame Charge. So props to my opponent for getting really good IVs Trevenant. But if the IVs of the Trevenant is poor, just that last 2 Incinerates would have knocked it out. I would have energy for the next Pokemon, and I would have a better advantage. So when I saw this battle, I'm like, oh my god, yeah. Could have been a better one if I actually encountered an opponent with not so good IVs Trevenant, but anyway, you guys can see I'm going to try and catch the charge move from the Cresselia. Unfortunately, my opponent did not switch. Sorry, did not throw the charge move. Alright, but it's okay. We're going to go with that, and we're going to try to get to our Shadow Ball, which we do. Now, is the Shadow Ball enough to knock out the Cresselia? Please be enough. Boom! Yes, it is. Trevenant is just too great, but the Dragon Breath is just too insane, and we are left with a sliver of health after the Shadow Claws went through. Oh my god. Alright, so going to the next battle against WK917. Awesome. Let's see what's he going to start off with. Giratina. So Giratina, as usual, I'll be just going with Earthquakes all the way. I didn't do my usual way of playing, which is to use the Hydro Cannon to try and bait a shield anymore. I'm just going with double Earthquakes already. Alright, so there were a few scenarios that I was able to win the Giratina. Not exactly win the Giratina, but at least fire off 2 Earthquakes. But in certain scenarios when it lags and it shows weak connection, I won't be able to do it. Alright, so anyway, you guys can see Sylveon is in, and I'm just going to bring in Talonflame. I'm just going to go with Flame Charge all the way to try and farm up more energy farm up more damage, sorry, to be more precise. Alright, so I decided to let this go through also. I was thinking, you know, it should be fine, Talonflame should be fine, right? But then I realized, oh my god, it's very low in health already. And if my opponent were to shield this, not good for us, man. But then my opponent decided to let it go, awesome. And then he's going to bring in Giratina. Now, can we actually get to a charge move before we get taken out? The answer is no. So we're going to let this Dragon Claw go through. We're going to bring in Trevenant. No, we brought in a Swampert first. Alright, Swampert has the Earthquake ready, so hence why I brought that in. We're going to bring in Trevenant right after this Earthquake goes through. Right, Trevenant. Well, Dragon Claw is going to come through. We have 2 shields for our Trevenant then. Let's just hope the last Pokemon isn't a, I guess, Dark typing. I mean, even if it's Dark typing Pokemon, it's totally fine because we have 2 shields left on our Trevenant. Trevenant can beat practically anything with 2 shields left, with 0 shields on our opponent. So we're gonna go with a Shadow Ball. Alright, great. It's gonna knock out the Giratina. What's the last Pokemon? It is a Alola Ninetales. So Alola Ninetales very easy. We can just go with 1 Shadow Ball and 1 Seed Bomb. It will knock out the Alola Ninetales totally. Alright, Shadow Ball first, and then Seed Bomb. Alright, Seed Bomb, Seed Bomb, Seed Bomb. Alright, we are just 1 charm away from being taken out also, though, with the amount of health that we are left, so that was very, very close. We are left with 1 shield, since my opponent wasn't able to use the charge move at all from the Alola Ninetales. So going to the next battle right now, man, against Car2918. So this battle is actually very interesting. First of all, you guys can see, I played it during the daytime. I was actually out at the shopping mall with Princess. We were just buying stuff, and then I decided to play some of the battles because the mobile data out at the mall is better than being here in the accommodation, so hence I had confidence to actually play it. So you guys saw that my opponent started with Virizion, and I pulled an immediate switch into Talonflame, but he brought in a Drapion. So Drapion now using Crunch, my defense has fallen by 25%. We're going to have to shield up against the next Crunch, otherwise we're going to get knocked out. If the Crunch did not actually debuff us, I would just let it go through for the second Crunch, and I still be able to get to another charge move in time. However, since we suffered a debuff, no ways that's going to happen. So I was thinking, should I win switch advantage or should I just let it go through? I was going to let it win switch advantage because I need to keep my Talonflame against the Virizion also. Otherwise, I will have to use the backup plan, which is to use my Trevenant against it, which is kind of fine also. Alright, so brought in a Mark. I was trying to get to another charge move. Unfortunately, we got taken down by the Poison Jabs. We're going to bring in the Swampert. Now, I'm just waiting for him to switch into Virizion. When he does that, I'm just going to pull an immediate switch into Trevenant. Alright, Virizion is in. I'm going to pull a switch into Trevenant now. Alright, so let's just pray that the opponent does not have Stone Edge, because if he has Stone Edge, it will still do a lot of damage to Trevenant. So Leaf Blade and Sacred Sword. You guys can see, once my opponent starts using either Sacred Sword or Leaf Blade against my Trevenant, I know there is no Stone Edge at all. So we're going to go with Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to do a lot of damage to the Virizion, but like I said before in the previous video, Virizion is very, very tanky, so hence it does like less than, I think slightly less than 50% damage to it. Alright, we're going to try and farm down the Virizion to prepare energy for the next Pokemon, the Alolan Muk, to knock it out with our charge move. Unfortunately, we just got met with another charge move. The double kick, the fast move, does so much energy generation that, yeah, that happens. So we have to come up with another plan. Plan C. We are going to have to farm up a little bit of energy, use our Earthquake to one-shot KO the Alolan Muk, and try to get to our Hydro Cannon before a Leaf Blade comes in. And that happened, and we don't even need to slide at all because the Virizion is left with 1 dot of HP, and it knocked it out even without tapping on a single bubble, man. Alright, but that was a very, very close battle. Managed to counter that lead that we lost. Alright, going to the next battle against our next opponent, and my opponent is using Jellicent. So Jellicent, I've shown you guys in the previous videos before. Basically, I'll just go with double Earthquakes. Not going to try and bait the shield also, since we can get to double Earthquakes before we get knocked out anyway. So it's either 2 charge moves that we can actually utilize, and most people wouldn't shield their Jellicent for either one of the charge moves that you're going to throw out of the 2. So you might as well just throw with double Earthquakes anyways. Likewise for Giratina also, most people wouldn't double shield it, but there are cases that people would double shield an Earthquake from a Swampert. You guys can see just 1 sliver of health left on my Swampert. This is how close it is. Alright, the Earthquake lands, and great, we got knocked out. We're going to bring in Trevenant now to farm down the Jellicent. So now the question is, my opponent going to use Bubble Beam or Shadow Ball? It's slightly risky to actually not shield up, so hence why I decided to shield. It's okay. Since we actually got baited, we can just go with our Seed Bomb straight away. If we did not get baited, we can actually just farm down the Jellicent totally, alright, but that's a bit risky. So met with a Nidoqueen, we're gonna go with our Shadow Ball, alright, but we're gonna switch into Talonflame first before we actually do that, because we're gonna have to save up the energy since our Trevenant has been debuffed, our attack has dropped by 25%. Likewise for the defense also, even for the defense of the Talonflame has been dropped by 25% thanks to the Poison Fang. So I decided to switch out the Talonflame to remove the debuffs, and then eventually when it comes back in later on with the 2 moves ready, I will hit even harder. Alright, so let's go ahead to see that the Poison Fang is coming in and it's gonna just debuff us like mad. We're gonna go with another Flame Charge. Let's see if my opponent is gonna let this go through or not. Remember, I have energy left, so if my opponent knows that, he would probably try and save the Nidoqueen to do as much damage as it can, especially if the last Pokemon is super duper weak to Trevenant. And the last Pokemon is an Escavalier. The only way Escavalier can beat my Trevenant now is to get to Mega Horn. Question is, can he actually get to a Mega Horn in time? Let's see though. Alright, so we're gonna see that he already used his charge when I know it is not Mega Horn, it is gonna be Drill Run. Drill Run is not gonna be enough. We're gonna try to do our charge move now. Actually, I could have just let it got to nice. Oh, actually, you know what? I still needed to get a great. I can do one more Shadow Claw, and then 2 Shadow Claws, 1 Seed Bomb. That would be enough to knock out the Nidoqueen. That was a very, very close battle. But yeah, my opponent knew that I was going to be able to get to the charge move in time before he could. And since that, he did not go with the Mega Horn. If he actually did try to go for Mega Horn, I would try to get Shadow Ball, double Shadow Ball, and then probably knock it out before that. But then maybe the Nidoqueen could come in and knock my Trevenant out? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, you guys can see we have a very, very bad lead against Crusader. Crusader with Grass Knot, 1 hit KOs a Shadow Swampert, so that's not good. So we're going to try and catch it on the Trevenant, which we do. Alright, but we are met with a Scrafty, which is very unfortunate for us, but it's okay. We're going to go with Seed Bomb spam all the way. So we had a very, very bad lead. We have a very, very bad switch also, but no choice. That's the only way to do it right now. Otherwise, we have to start using shields. So I'm trying to save the shields for my Talonflame and Trevenant most of the time. But in this situation, I know there's no point saving the shields for my Trevenant anymore. We're going to get knocked out by the counters. And we're going to bring in the Swampert to go with the Hydro Cannon straight away. So let's see if my opponent is going to shield this or not. Yes, it went through. It did not get shielded. And let's see if she's going to bring in the Crusader. Crusader is definitely going to be brought in. Alright. And then we're going to try and catch the Grass Knot again. Unfortunately, my opponent did not fire off the charge move. So we're going to go with our Flame Charge against the Cobalion. Cobalion is weak to Fire, Ground, and even Fighting. So that's great for our Talonflame. But we have to be wary of one particular move, Stone Edge. Alright, so Stone Edge is going to knock us out totally. We are double weak to Rock, and that's going to one-shot KO us. Alright, Flame Charge, we're going to just farm up our energy and also farm up our damage, man. Alright, so we are going to shield up against this, even if it's Sacred Sword, whatever, I need to shield up against this. Alright, we're going to get to a Brave Bird. Alright, but we're going to get met with another charge move, guys. It's going to be Sacred Sword. It doesn't have enough energy for a Stone Edge. Alright, Brave Bird now. Straight away, go. Fire off against the Crusader. The Crusader has energy to fire off a charge move already. So hence why I decided to fire off my Brave Bird immediately. And Moonblast will almost knock us out. I'm going to bring in my Swampert. Going to go with Hydro Cannon. That will be enough to knock out the Crusader since we are using a Shadow Swampert. Alright, great. So that was that battle, and I think we have one last battle to check out before we actually check out my ratings. So against Ray Addicto. Alright, so he has already been wearing the outfit, and you actually do get the outfit with the sunglasses once you reach Expert, and once you reach Legend, you actually do get the pose, which I don't think I'll be, you know, using any of those or wearing any of those because I normally wear my usual outfit. This is also my usual outfit, by the way. Yeah. So let's go to see that we have an Obstagoon though. Obstagoon against my Shadow Swampert. We're going to go with double Hydro Cannons. Double Hydro Cannons will be launched before double charge move from the Obstagoon will be used. But I'm thinking if I want to shield this or let this go through though. I'm going to actually not shield this at all. I'm going to bring in the Talonflame later on once we actually get knocked out so we can farm a little bit of energy off the Obstagoon. Alright, great. So we got 1 Incinerate damage going through. We have a Swampert back here. I should have actually tried and catch the Hydro Cannon on my Trevenant though, but I did not think of doing that for some good reason. And then we're going to be met with a Gengar with Shadow Punch, so that's going to hurt a lot. We're going to go with Seed Bomb to try and bait a shield. Most people will actually shield up against whatever charge moves that you throw against a Gengar, because Gengar is just too glassy. So if you do not have your shields being used against it, it's just going to get knocked out very, very easily. Even though it resists like Seed Bomb, it's still going to do a huge amount of damage to it. You guys can see, look at that. Alright, one more Shadow Claw is going to knock it out. And we have the Swampert in, man. Now, the Swampert, since it is not a Shadow Swampert, it will not be enough to knock us out. And we will be able to get to a Seed Bomb at least to do a one-shot KO damage, or almost one-shot KO damage to it. I shielded that. We're going to bring in our Talonflame. And we have our Brave Bird almost ready, guys. So we're going to fire off the Brave Bird. Hopefully it is enough to knock out the Swampert. But since it is not a Shadow Swampert, no, it's not going to get knocked out. It's still going to be there. And now the question is how we're going to play this, man. I'm lagging a little bit. Also, you guys can see on the top left of the screen, the Circle of Death is spinning over there. The Pokeball of Death. Alright, so now we have to try and Shadow Claw it down. We knocked it out, and we are left with just 1 HP. Oh my god, that was great. Oh wait, still got one more battle. Sorry, I thought that was the last one already. Alright, against Hanabi's. And he's using a non-Shadow Warren. So we have a very, very bad lead. And Warren against Swampert. Swampert will just have to go with Earthquakes all the way. We're going to let the first Icicle Spear go through. I didn't expect my opponent to actually use the Icicle Spear that soon. Most people will do like maybe 9 or 10 Powder Snows before they fire off their first Icicle Spear. But you know, this guy decided to use it that early, and he's now saving up even more energy. So I brought in a Talonflame that's going to get hit by 1 Icicle Spear. And we're going to see the next Pokemon is going to be a Swampert. So we're going to go with Brave Bird straight away. Alright, let's see if our opponent is going to shield this or not. High chance no, because he has already utilized 1 shield. And we are up 2 shields, by the way. Alright, I'm going to let this go through. It's going to knock our Talonflame out since he has been debuffed. And we're going to bring in Trevenant. Trevenant is just going to farm down the Swampert totally. Don't have to shield up against anything. Nobody would actually use Sludge Wave, right? In the Ultra League, I suppose so. Alright, so we're gonna knock it out. We have energy against the next Pokemon. That's gonna be the Warren. We're gonna go with Seed Bomb all the way, man. Alright, let's see if it's gonna be enough to knock it out. No, it's not. It's gonna be enough right now if it actually does land, but my opponent is gonna shoot this if my memory serves me right. Alright, my opponent shoot that. I'm gonna try and switch into Swampert, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. I got to shield that. Gonna bring in a Swampert. I was trying to bring in Swampert to immediately fire off the Hydro Cannon so I don't have to use a shield at all. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to, but it's okay. Now, the last Pokemon is a Trevenant. So if we actually had 2 shields left with our Trevenant with us, we are gonna easily wipe out the opponent's Trevenant. But now, since in this situation, we have to get to the Earthquake, do a lot of damage to it, and now we have to shield up against the first charge move. And it's a Seed Bomb, a second Seed Bomb. Can we survive? I knew my opponent has 2 Seed Bomb already, and I just need to leave 1 Seed Bomb, and we do. Now, we need to knock out the opponent with our very own Seed Bomb, because I think we are 1 Shadow Claw from being taken out also, but we knocked out the Trevenant, and we scored that win. That was a very, very close battle, I must say, especially when we had a really, really poor lead. So after all those battles, I gained almost 100 elos. My ratings has gone up and then gone down in the last episode, but now it's up again. Hopefully we can make it higher. I did say that I actually reached up to 2,890 ratings at one point of time, and then after playing like a few more sets, it went down again. But hopefully in the next few episodes we can really push and stay above 2,900 and complete the last 100 ratings in the next few days, because we are left with just 21 days before the season ends also. Oh my god. Yeah, and I'll see you guys on the next episode in the next video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like on the video. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Alright, so goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.